And we are recording, okay? So, everybody looking at my feed at the moment? Everybody there? Everybody looking at this? Cool.
Yep.
Okay, let me have a look and open that file, I think. Now I'm gonna go through the steps of the actual jump cycle. Because the jump cycle is a little bit interesting because the jump cycle is not as the one we've done so far. And I think let's walk a little bit through the as a recap through the what is it called, the run cycle. I'm gonna here on the screen. I'm opening the file. So animation run one. I'm gonna open that. And I'm gonna go through as a quick recap because it's interesting the fact that you need to use the controls for what they're supposed to be doing, okay? And I think, for example, going back to here, this here, for example, in this character, at the beginning, I didn't put any animation in the actual clavicle, the thing we were talking about a second ago with Ryan. So for this one, if you actually move that you have that issue that you have, which is actually looking like it's dancing. So if you want to do this, because at the moment, I think later on probably added, when you do this and it moves up, you need to have a little bit of rotation. So you can do this, and then perhaps a little bit of this. Okay, you see, it's like going up. So you keyframe that, then you can see that it goes. Okay, let me delete these ones. So it has a little bit of a going up, and then it can go down as well, the opposite. You can probably do something like that. It's very subtle, but it's just going up and down. So do not translate it, because the clavicle, think about it, how the clavicle moves, the clavicle just rotates. It doesn't translate it gives you the impression that you're translating, but it's not. It's just pivoting from a point which is somewhere here. And that's why we left the joint right close to the neck, because that's where the clavicle pivots from. Okay? And I think if you get familiarized with your rig, how it works, then you can find out how things are designed. So I think going back to Costa's issue, that I think Costas was rotating this, and I think it was rotating this too much, and I think it was causing perhaps that issue that you were doing, like it was a little bit floaty. I mean, if you need to shift the weight, so I mean, I think this is probably early stage, but here ideally, if you were running in this position, literally the character will fall. Because if you think about it, this is a weight. What is the weight? There is no weight shifting here. Look, the legs is right there, the legs is in this one, this stuff is in the middle, and this stuff. Ideally, when you run, you do this. You have the weight shifted on that leg that you're actually about to plant. But when you do that, if you move to the right later on, I think I did it, you have to select these two arms, controls, and then just move at the same time. Look, so it looks a bit more like that. Okay, do not leave this guy behind, otherwise it will look like he's actually floating. The legs, then the arms will then look like they're floating in the air. This is pretty much, this is a bit extreme, of course, but it will be something like this. Okay, then you need to compensate with the leg as well. And then when you go to the other side, it does here the same. When you do this, you shift to this side like this. Okay. So you need to be shifting left, right, left, right. Think about it, how you run. Left, right, left, right. You need to. Otherwise you will fall. If you don't have that shifting of the weight, it will fall. And as well, if you want to go more in depth, you can just, when you do things like the leg here, you should be doing things like it will go in and it will go something like this, like that. See, that will be a bit more elaborate, like more accurate. And then when you plant, then as soon as the feet is planted, you put it back to the position straight, just before it plants, before it lands. Okay, it's just a matter of you researching, organizing, and then looking and being having observation on how things move. There's plenty of resources online, and you can improve your animation drastically with it. Now, another thing as well, and I think I saw it on Costa's project, make sure that this stuff is snap-on into normal integer frames. Okay, I think if you put this one in 1.1.03, it's going to start giving you issues. Make sure that it's actually snap. And by that you can select all the controls, and then you select all of them, and then you just go into here, view, and then you just make sure that you edit and you snap. By hitting this, it will snap into actual into the actual frames. Correct. Thank you. So what happens is sometimes you might have a frame that is, I don't know, and here, like I don't know. Let's say that this one is 1 2 1 2 1 2 every 2 frames, and then one will be 3 2 3 2. Then make sure you make them all of them even distributed. So when you start moving things around, it will be easier. So this is just because it's a single frame at the moment. So at the moment I don't think it's being, at the moment it's not being scaled. It's only 13 frames. If I play this, you see it's going too fast. And this is what it's delivering me, 30 frames. It'd probably be okay if I want to make a cartoony character. But for now it will not work, doesn't work. Always important, guys, you're working with this number here so you know that the computer is delivering. If the computer is not delivering, guys, you have to right click here and then play blast it and then have a look and see what it looks like in real time. Okay, you know how to do play blast. So again, the thing you need to keep an eye is make sure you are in 30 frames per second and your playback speed is 30 frames per second. It's very important, guys. If you don't do that, you're gonna work your ass off making something look good at the wrong frame rate and at the wrong speed. And then you later find out that you have to shift all the keys, and then you see that is something you have to do by hand. You cannot do it automatically. So that is a bit tricky. So if I play like this, then yeah, you can sort of work it out at this distance, but it needs to be sort of playing real time here. Okay. So that is the first pass that we do, and let's stop this. I'm gonna open now the second part of this, which is the animation run 2. Okay, I'm gonna open this. Now in the second version, I think in this I already scaled the keys. You see, now they scaled to 122. So I know that every 2 frames, this guy is, is looking good. I think there is an issue here. You see, this is wrong here. Look, this is an issue. When this happened, you had 2 keyframes at the same place for some reason. You see, that's why you have this one. Oh, look, this is an example. This one is not a frame that is 100% snap. Look. This one is in frame 116:48. So that's wrong. So we have to find out which frame is that. And then what we can do is you can just have a look. And I think this frame here, it has 2 frames at the same time. You see, this frame is here. It's the same as this. What you have to do is delete one of them and then see which is the one that is giving you the issue. If I click here and delete it, it will go down there, but there's still this frame is not 100% accurate, so we have to move it to 116. So we just delete the decimal part and it just moves back in there. Okay, that happens sometimes. I don't know if that's a glitch or something, I don't know. Anyway, so I decided that 22 frames for me, or 22 frames minus 1 for the loop, is right for the size of this character. I think this character is, I don't know if I do the shifting all the way, I probably didn't, but it needs to be done. The ones that I shown you, the old ones, they're really nicely polished. That's like a day each to get that done. And I think normally in the industry that would take you probably something like 2 weeks, or sorry, 2-3 days to do a cycle in the game industry. So for those who want to be animators, so I think at the moment this is this is the way it is, 22 frames. Then let me go and see how I polish this. So I'm going to go and open the 3rd version of this, number 3. And in number 3 here, then I done already all the shifting and all the stuff, and I think that looks a bit more organic. Okay, I think there's a little bit of a shifting on the way here. I don't think it's that prominent, but like I said, the other ones I did are way more polished. I think this one here is my animation. Okay, this is only like 2-3 hours of work, but if you invest a day on this, you will see the difference in terms of the quality. And I think this one has already the limbs, sort of arcs clean up. So I think you select any of this, and then you go into visualize, create editable motion trail, and you can see that there are nice clean curves. You see, they're going up and down, up and down. You see, that's where it gets a little bit, nice and clean there. So when you play it, it looks nice, okay? Because obviously when you run, you don't run up and then you put the arm in and out. You just have an arc, and probably this one is a little bit too stiff, but I can make it more like going down this way instead of going this. But that's just polish until you're happy with. And then for this one, once I decided this, then I did the 3 copies. Guys, the 3 copies is very important. Do not do them after this. If you do any changes after this, it's gonna be a nightmare. You're gonna have to go and copy and delete the keys and then recopy them again. So it's easier if you settle for your timing from the 100 to whatever, 122. Once you're happy with that, then you make the copies and then you do the shifting. Remember the shifting we did was shifting left to right, depending 2-3 frames, so not everything happening at the same time. Once that happens, then you will start seeing things a little bit more organic, I think. So at the moment, this is just a test. I think there is more polishing in the last one, more polishing. But the only trade-off is you cannot use any of these keys here or there. If you analyze this, you can see that if you choose something, for example, this curve, whatever control that is, it has not any other keys until this, which is the last key. So there's gonna be some keys. For example, the way this behaves, when this value reaches this point, and the time keep going, this will stay in that point. It will not keep moving like down or up and down. It will be at the same value. So you probably will see that if you pick frames from this end, you will see some things that are not 100% in a loop. There will be something that will be like it's running and suddenly one of the wrists stays in the same place and they keep running, and there will be like a glitch. So you need to avoid that by making sure you don't choose any of those frames, and that's why we make 3 copies, so you have plenty of room to go around. Okay, does everybody understand that concept when I say about shifting the keys and not using the beginning or the end? Yeah, everybody understand that?
Yeah, I get it.
So
Yeah, got it.
the key is, like I said, make sure that you know how many frames you need at the beginning, and then make 3 copies and then play around with them as much as you can, which is about the shifting. And then you just decide, okay, I need 21 frames. I can choose anywhere from around here to here, and that's why you have plenty of room, and that's why we made the 3 copies. Okay, so that's settled. So I'm gonna open the final of this and see any changes. So animation, run, final. Okay, open. So I think this one is the final. I don't know if I did any changes. Probably no. I think I probably did a bit more better shifting. I think this. I don't think I put the shifting the weight here and this, but that needs to go left to right. I don't know if it's. I think it's probably. Yeah, I think it's the translate. Let me see 1 second. Object. Yeah, that will be Z. You see, there's no translation on Z, so I should probably do this when it's running, so it shifted the weight. But I think I did it like in the old versions that I have, but not in this one, because this is only like 2 hours in order for me to actually finish this, because otherwise it will take me forever. Anyway, so that's the final one. I decided to have from frame 112 to 134. Now, the choice that you have is up to you guys. For example, if you're doing your idle when the character has this leg forward, then you're probably gonna start choosing a cycle that starts from there. For example, from here to here, because the transition from going from idle to that will be easier if you have something that is already there. So if your idle is like this, let's say with that position on the legs, and then you choose this, for example, as the starting point of the run cycle, when you start running, there is most likely that the transition will be a little bit jumpy or a little bit too linear, so it will not look quite smooth, as in you were already sitting like that or standing like that in the idle, and then suddenly you start running like this. It will be easier. You see what I mean? So whatever you choose, trying to choose that you match sort of the leg position, that will help as well with the transition. Because if you choose something that is not, then you will have to sort of interpolate to that and then start the run cycle. And there's a little bit like, that will probably break the illusion of the animation or the smoothness. So that's that. The other thing as well is that try to do the same for the walk cycle, so you can choose wherever those feet are planted, and that will help you as well with transition. Okay, so once you do that, then you decide how to export it. Going back to the thing with Costa, this is how it should be. Costa, it should be, that node should be outside here, and you see that it's being diamond. Because the diamond, it means that it's a reference, which means that it is how it is in the actual final rig like this. Okay, and by doing that, all you lose is the ability to scale your character. Look, if I scale my character here, it will be wrong. You see how it gets stretched? Because this guy is out from here. If he's there, it will scale accordingly. You see how he messed everything up?
Yeah.
That's why I was quite enforcing that from the beginning. I say make sure your character is right to scale, so you don't have to scale it. Okay.
I might have some problem now that I am looking at it, but we'll go over it later. Yeah.
Yeah, sure, no problem. Okay, so continuing this, then I'm gonna open the final jump. Okay, so we can have a look what I did. But well, in this case, no. Let's not open that. Let's open the first one. Let's see, because the jump cycle is slightly different. I don't want to do it because it will take forever. It will take me hours to do this. But the thing with the jump cycle is at this stage I just created the points of the landing point. If I have a look at the reference for that, let me have a look at the reference. So you can see that. Let me have a look where that reference is. Where is the file? Okay, I've got it here. The source images. So this sort of you're seeing this, yeah? This sort of are you seeing this or are you just seeing the software? I can't remember if I'm sharing software or screen. Can you see the jump?
I see it.
Yeah, so pretty much this is what I use. It's fairly simple. You know, you're the neutral, which is standing from the neutral pose, and then the anticipation, and the jump, then the mid-air. This is in the air, and then the landing. So you have to break it down in two. You have to break it down, and these three poses are the starting. These three poses are the landing, and this pose is in the air. So we need to have 3 loops, or cut the loop in 3, because in Unreal there is a variable that you need to create to say, hey, is the character in the air? And if it's yes, then this is the guy who is going to be in the air. Because if you put a box there that has 20 story high, then if the character jumps, then if he's landing at the moment he's keep going down, he will be looping here like this in this section, because he's still landing, he's in the air. So if you're only jumping as you're running, then you will go straight away and then goes down and then automatically kick this. So you will have to break it down in 3. So these 3 poses are for the initial, and these 3 poses are for the landing, and this is from the air. This one need to be looped as well, certain amount of frames, and I'll show you how to do that. The key thing to start is you should start from your idle pose, I suppose, because most likely it's gonna be quite visible that if you're an idle and you press this jump button, spacebar or whatever, then you will go from the idle and then you start jumping and then you will land in the same position. Okay? So ideally you should start with the idle position of your character and then take it from there. What you can do is you can just open the idle, save it as a different file that start with, call it animation jump 001, delete all the keys after that, and then you start animating from there. Okay? This is the idle how it is, look. So then I will have, again, there were 6 frames here. No, not that. There were, did I close it? Probably did. There were 6 frames in here. Okay? Because this one is pretty much the same as the last one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then this one is the same as that. Okay, so only see 6 keyframes. So we go, start again, frame 100. And then as here, jump. And then it's a matter of copying those keys, guys. It's you know how to do that. You go down, then you look at this image. That's it. If you want, I can upload this image into the canvas today, okay? So you have it as well as a reference if you want. If not, find whatever you want. But the point is that you need to have this exactly as the landing, and then you will have those 6 keyframes, and then 1 in the air, and then down. At the moment, this is only the contact points. There is no timing in this. If I do this to frame 106, which is the same, and if I play it, look, it's just there is no timing. It's delivering at 30 frames per second. This is way too fast. Now I need to find the timing of this. Again, we're going back to part 2. Okay. And in part 2 here, let's have a look. Let's have a look at that. So let's look at the, where are they? Animation jump 001, and then animation jump 002. Let's open it and see. I don't remember what I did, but let's see what I did in that section. Okay, I think in this one probably I timed it. Let's have a look. And then let me show the controls. Okay. You can see here I have a little bit of a timing now. I established that the character will jump in 24 frames. So when I jump, that's good. That's what I decided. 24 frames for me will be something that I decide that is the way to go. Okay. And again, first frame is exactly as the last frame. Okay. The same thing, the same procedure. Down. It's a loop. Okay. We're gonna have to break down this in this section when it goes like that, and then this point here when it's in the air is the one that's gonna be looping like this. So it does some stuff like that if it's in the air, not as extreme as that, and then it lands. Okay, so you will have 1 loop, 2 loops, 3 loops, or loop point 1, point 2, and point 3. You have to break it down in 3. Jump start, jump in the air, and jump landing. Okay, we're gonna call it something like that. And again, but this is the whole thing. So let's see what happens when I do next. The next will be probably cleaning up. I don't think this one needs to do any shifting or anything like that, because it's not going to be repetitive in terms of like the left side or the right side, because it's going up and down. And it's not like symmetrical, like walking or running or whatever. It's one-off. Okay, so I don't think you have to do any shifting, but if you do shifting, you can do the shifting in terms of like within this, not like within the copies. That's slightly different here. So let's go and jump, open jump 3. Okay, let's see what I did here. Probably I did a little bit more cleanup here, I can't remember. Yeah, I think this is probably a little bit of a cleanup there. Okay, might not be visible in terms of like what can I show you, but I probably clean the keys a little bit better, and then I got my animation a little bit. I think the arms probably, yeah. Then what you do again, remember we're gonna break this down into 3 parts. This is gonna be at the here is gonna be in the air until here, and then here will be like something like that will be in the air, and then this one will be the landing. And it's a matter of just you shifting the keys and then just moving it around. Like by shifting, I don't mean shifting what we did before. We're just shifting those keys so we can have enough for a loop. And I'll show you in a second what I did. So animation jump final. Let's have a look at the final, and then we talk a little bit more in depth in that. So now this one here is a little bit more interesting, I guess, because I did that loop thing. Okay, so here what I did was I did nothing. I just take all those keys, move the control, middle click, control, shift clicking all the way there, and then made this long, and then I did the landing. Okay, so here I said from this frame all the way till here is my starting frame. So jump start will be from frame 100 to frame 112. From frame 2013 all the way to 136 is my loop in the air. Look. 13, 36 is 13, 36, I think, yeah. These 2 frames, I think it's from 14 to, yeah, from 14 to 36 is my looping. And that will be this, just doing this in the air. All I did was, I took the same frame, middle click and drag, all the way there, keyframe that again, and in the middle, I went there and I moved the hands a little bit or something, and then to make it look like it's actually floating in the air. And I move a little bit this, so it can give it a little bit more sense of movement. Okay? So again, the landing is all the way from 13, and then from 14 to 36 is going to be my loop. Okay? I can put 35, so because it's the same, 36 and 14. And then the landing will be from 137 all the way down to, not this one because this one is exactly the same as the beginning, so -1. So this one 36, 37 to 44. That will be my landing animations. Okay. So again, 3 parts from here till here. I think it's till here. 113. That will be my jump start. From 14 to 30, 37, 35. That will be my landing. Sorry, my in the air. And then from 37 to 44, my landing. Okay, so I have 3. And this is just a matter, like I said, just a matter of taking the, let me probably do it in the other one, roughly, no. Let me open the one previous so I can show you how I did the shifting of the keys. That will be 3. So here will be just a matter, we know that we established from this all the way till here is my in the air, sorry, my starting jump. So I'm gonna go and increase this, and then I'm going to take all these keyframes, okay, and then I know that this is the in the air, so I'm gonna take this, and then I'm gonna select all of them, shift middle click and drag, so I'm moving all the way till there, and then I decide how many frames I'm gonna give it to this loop. For the moment, this is the beginning, so I go until here is the start. From here all the way till there, it's gonna be the same loop. So I'm gonna click here, middle click and drag, so I don't cook. Because if I click and drag without middle click, you see it's doing the actual interpolation. So if I don't want to interpolate this and don't analyze this, instead of clicking left clicking, you middle click and drag, and you see it stay frozen in the air. And then just the point before here, I press S with all the keys, and then I know that this frame is exactly as this frame, you see. And then somewhere around here, I put a little bit of an offset. I don't know, I move the take the hands, and I don't know how to do it exactly, because I do this and move it up a little bit, take this, move it down a little bit, and then this one a little bit down, maybe this one's a little bit to the back, take that down, and this one down a little bit, and then like that, and then select all of them, and then press S, keyframe is somewhere here. So there is now a loop, look, something like that. With a bit more work, guys, you can do it. Okay, so I'm just doing 2 keyframes here so you can see. So now I established that from frame 100 to frame 113 is my loop that I'm going to export, which is my jump start. And from frame 114 to frame, not 143, but 142, so it doesn't repeat the same frame, it's going to be my loop in the air. And from frame 143 to 152 is going to be my landing, because I don't want to include the last one because it's exactly the same as the first one. And that's it. That's all you have to do. And then you will have your loops to work with. Then you export them, and then you will be able to bring it into Unreal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fire up Unreal here quickly. Okay, just bear with me. I should have done that. Completely forgot to do that at the beginning. So let me open the project so I can Unreal Engine project 2020, and then project, okay, then here, so it's sorry, just putting stuff here. So I go the run, the walk, the idle, and the start. So what I did is I exported them already, so I have them here. Jump end, jump loop, and jump start, FBX, okay? And now I'm gonna import them here. At the moment I go here, the idle, the run, and the walk cycle, okay? They're all running, working. So they're all there, okay? You can select them here through here as well. And you have here. So we need to import 3 more here, which are those that we just created. I'm not gonna go through the process of exporting it because you already know. You can just go back to the old tutorials and then you just see how I exported them, and that's pretty much the same principle. Okay, so once you have that, then you are ready to bring the other ones. So here I got a folder called animations, and then I'm gonna bring now the things that I just created, and I already put them here because I copied them from the old project from last year, and they're here, all the stuff. Just remember that what I normally do, I create, and I advise you guys to do that when you create your projects in Unreal. Make sure you put a folder called source or whatever. Then before you compile the whole thing and then turn it into an application, you just take this out and then delete or copy them somewhere else. And then when you compile all this, and then it doesn't bloat your project or the file when you create an executable. That is if you were to turn this into an app or something like that. But it's always very important. As you can see, guys, I'm quite particular when it comes to naming conventions, setting up projects, putting things in the right folder, because I have been in situations that's like, why the hell I didn't do this? I'm just working 3 more times than as usual. Just doing it from the beginning, it will save you a ton of work. So anyway, so in order to import it, I'm just gonna go here, import, and I say import, and I'm just gonna go and select, let's say with the start. And it sort of recognizes that this is an animation. It tells you, hey, this is an animation. You need to apply it to a skeleton. Choose which one it is. At the moment there are 2. They are the mannequin, and they are the rig. And this is the one that we put character reanimation rig. So you select that one. The rest should be the same, and you import. And now you will have this, the start. You see, that's all are there. Now you go through the other one as well. You can import them all in one go if you want, but I would like to do it one by one just in case. So the loop here, open. That's the same thing. It needs to know which one you should go attach that information to, and you just import it. And you double check that it worked. You see it's in the air. It's some sort of like in the air stuff. And here we import the other one, which is the N. Okay. And here we go rig. And then we import that, and that's the landing there. Okay, so you have everything now. You have the idle, you have the walk, you have the run, and you have the jump, the start, the one in the air, and the landing. Okay, maybe the landing is a little bit far, it doesn't matter. Okay, so once you have that, then you're ready to go in many aspects. Yeah, but there's plenty of things that we need to do, because we need to steal stuff from there. This is what we're going to do next week. Next week we're going to dedicate a whole class just to put everything together in Unreal, and then we're going to go through the cloth and things afterwards. But I want to do things different this year. I'm going to do first everything set up, and then we do the cloth and all that stuff. So the cloth stuff is very quickly, guys, nothing to worry about. So if I play this, at the moment the character that I have is third person, because that's the one that is assigned in the system to work. And you can see that it triggers everything, and then if you press spacebar, you see, because it's jumping in the air, then it stays in the air. Okay, if it's jumping here, it stays in the air a little bit, and then lands. Okay, and as well here, if you were having at the moment it doesn't detect the run and the walk, because I'm using the keyboard. But if you were using a controller, you will press a little bit slide, and you start seeing the characters walking a little bit, and then suddenly start running. Okay, you will see that with a controller, not with a keyboard, because it's just the keyboard is just a single pressure, and then the other one is just no. But the way this works is that we need to create something called and we're going to do probably that now in a second. But you need to create something called a blend space, and I'm going to go through and show you what a blend space is. You go here into mannequin, animations. Here, the blend space. It's a system where you put everything together in order to work. If you were doing a movement with the controller, you will start getting that the more you press, you see it start blending between the 3 animation. At the moment you have here the idle, here you have this dot represent the walk, and this dot here represents the run. So if you move this green button between them, you say that you're going to the idle, that's the idle, and then you start moving a little bit slower. You see it start blending between the walk. There is a little bit of, here you can see there is a little bit of a percentage of the idle blend with a percentage of the walk, and that's what it's called blend space. You blend in between one space to another in a linear way. just like a lerp inside Unreal shaders material. You blend in between black and white. You blend in between one and another, or one stage and another stage. And here as well, when you start blending towards here, then you start blending. The more you go to the other side, you start blending more and more and more, and then the characters start full running. If you were having a controller, you can see this transition, because the transition in the controller and the movement is quite, especially in the analog joystick, then you can start seeing that there's going to be a little bit of pressure, and you start seeing that if you don't press it too hard, you start just walking, and suddenly when you press it really hard, then you start running. So that is this blend space, and that's something you need to create inside Unreal. So in order to create it, we're going to create it here in the My Character. I remember that My Character, I have the rig. This is something created by Unreal. The skeleton which comes with this, and then the shader that you have assigned, it comes as well as part of the FBX. In animation, if you want to create a blend space, just as a test bed for next week, you're going to right click here, and then you go into animation, and then here you go into animation blend space, okay? And I think this one is the blend space, I think is blend space, sample point, space. Okay, you can have, this is a blend space more complicated because you can actually going into several animations, and I show that, I'll explain that to you another point. But for now, you have to go into blank space 1D. I think that's the one. If you click here, it will tell you, hey, you want to pick up which skeleton you want to use? And we say, yeah, I'm going to use this skeleton. Okay. So, and then this section here, what you have is the blend space. So I'm going to call this My Character underscore blend space. Not for bullshit, but for blend space. Okay, so we got this, and then you see sort of similar UI that we had before. So at the moment, this is like a 1D situation. You have one axis, which is the actual speed of the translation of the character, and then one axis, which is how much is going to be translated or moved. And then what you have to do is drag the elements. So you go here, idle, you drag it all the way to the beginning. Okay, you see it goes automatically in idle because this is the point. You click and drag, you see there's no other blending. Then at the moment this stuff is separated into 4 sections, and I think you can change that here by going into the actual settings here, horizontal axis, and telling how many grid options you want, so you can put more animations. 4 is fine. The maximum value, I think for this character, this is just arbitrary. It's not a real number. It depends on the size of the character. I think the one that we had there in the third person template is 375. That is something that the blueprint later on will use. So let's use that for now. This is just the, you see, 375, which is the variable, and this variable is going to be called, at the moment it's called none. It's going to be called speed, capital S. So speed here is going from this speed from nothing to 375, blending between some animations. So we know that we already have the idle here. So what we have to do is put, next one is the walk, and that, don't put it in the middle, put it somewhere here, because there is more energy that takes, it's easier to start from idle closer to start walking as it is from walking to running. So you can see here that because the green dot is not 100% here, you see there's a little bit of a blending between an idle and an actual walk, and it looks like it's limping because it's not doing it 100%. So the more you go to here, you see that it's gonna start looking more like a walk cycle, and when you go here, it's a full walk cycle. So it's a blending between an idle and a walk cycle. And then here we're gonna put the run all the way till the end, not here or here, but here at the end. And again, the button goes all the way there, and then you start blending between this, and then your character is running. All this thing, all this speed variable, which you can see it goes from 0, you see that little number going in there, all the way to 375, is something that's going to be controlled by a blueprint, which blueprints are coding. Okay, we are not coders, so you're not going to have to program. We're going to steal the one that is already there, which is the one that comes with the third person template. Okay, I don't expect you to do any programming, and a blueprint is actually programming. It just happens to be with nodes and it's visual. Okay, but we're gonna just steal that one and then put it in. claim it as ours, and that's fine because we're not programming. You're studying art, you're not studying programming. So if you were studying programming, you do that, then I will fail you. But now this is just a matter of showcasing your character, and then what we're going to do is we're going to take that for the third person gameplay. We don't have to program anything. And this is pretty much what we need. We need this, and then we need 2 more blueprints and 2 other blueprints to just put everything together, and then tell the system, hey, don't use the third person template now, use this dude. And then when you press play, this is the guy who will pop up. Okay, so we save this, and we are ready to go for next week. Okay, this character now is ready to start doing the other blueprints, copy and paste from the other one, make the connection, and then make it up and running with no issues. Because we're keeping all the same animation, we're keeping all the naming convention exactly, and then that shouldn't be a problem. Okay, and this is ready to go. So next week we're gonna put everything together here. Then the last week we're gonna cover a little bit about the cloth and the collision, and ready to go. Okay. So that's it for now, guys. I think this is the end of the class, which this time was about 40 minutes. And then because we had some really nice conversations before about individual work, I think that's quite beneficial, and I think this is it for now, guys. Anything you want me to repeat from what I just said?
No, I'm good.
Anybody? Anybody else?
Oh, sounds pretty alright.
Yeah. I will, obviously, as usual, I will upload this tonight, and you should have it in your canvas in no time. Okay. God, I cannot talk. I'm so tired. Been talking my ass off since 9 in the morning. So yeah. I just need a little bit of sugar. Having some jelly beans here. Yeah, man, I need sugar. I can't concentrate now. Too tired. Okay, so I'm going to do is I'm going to stop this here. I should have been more professional and not added about the thing about the jelly beans, but it's fine. I'm gonna stop this recording now, and